to our second installment in Sifted.net's Video Game Power Rankings, where we chronicle the ups and downs of video game marketing. Which games have become social media darlings? Which ones received awesome new trailers or previews? This is the first month where we have to recognize the movement up and down the chart based on how much new exposure a game has received over the last 30 days. As we said in last month's debut episode, these rankings are fluid. Some of your favorites may have been removed or are making their debut in the rankings. You're probably thinking Fallout 76 or Fallout 4 might make the list based on their resurgence after the Amazon Prime show, but these rankings are strictly for unreleased games. Let's see where everything shakes out for April 2024. Easily the biggest game debut from the last month is Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. This story-driven action game inspired by the 2010 comic series Flags of Our Fathers follows Captain America and Azuri, the Black Panther from that era, as they put their differences aside to fight a common foe. The game is being developed by former Naughty Dog all-star Amy Hennig, so the writing and character interaction should be exceptional. Expect cameos from Gabriel Jones of the Howling Commandos, a Wakandan spy named Nanali, and so many more. It all takes place in an occupied Paris, France during World War II, as Hydra tries to use the war as a beard for its ascent. While we're still in the dark on how the game actually plays, that just slathers an extra layer of mystery over the entire project. Hellblade 2 was number 11 in our power rankings in March, just barely missing the cut. That changes this month because the game has enjoyed a glowing round of previews from the traditional games press and influencers. No one really had a bad thing to say about it. In fact, some writers have already declared it a Game of the Year contender for 2024 after playing it for just a couple of hours. One tidbit that did leak out across the extensive coverage is that the game isn't going to be all that long. Its developer, Ninja Theory, usually makes shorter games, so it doesn't come as much of a surprise. But then it went a step further, claiming lots of players actually want shorter games. No matter how you feel on that topic, you should be tracking this game, as its May 21st release date is just around the corner. Hades 2 is another game that just barely missed the cut in last month's power rankings, but that all changed over the last week. The game has been blown out with a massive 3-hour livestream that finally shows it off. The first Hades is a bona fide Game of the Year roguelike where you hack and slash your way through levels while gaining power along the way. It was revolutionary at the time, and while Hades 2 does look very similar, a bunch of us are about to play it and find out for ourselves when it hits early access in the next month. Couple that with the announcement of the first Hades going exclusively to Netflix on mobile, and it's been a gigantic month for the good people at Supergiant Games and Hades 2. We struggle to figure out where to place Indie's upcoming game in this month's power rankings. No new promotional media was released for it this month, and we've dropped it a slot from last month's power rankings, but that's mostly because other games have surged ahead because they made bigger splashes. With the game scheduled for release this year, the promotion should ramp up soon, but Bethesda kind of went all out with its debut, which includes a lengthy gameplay trailer and a 13-minute behind-the-scenes blowout. It doesn't leave a lot to the imagination, so Xbox and Bethesda are likely letting us dig in the wrong place before ramping things back up for the final stretch. When it's all said and done, 2024 will be remembered as the year where nondescript PS5 exclusives became massive hits. It all started with Helldivers 2, a fairly average cooperative shooter that has become a sensation. The next in line of unlikely victories is the extraordinarily sexy Stellar Blade. A demo released for it this month that showed that it's more than just an abundance of TNA, but it also revealed that it's a fairly derivative sci-fi hack and slash. Average is proving to be good enough during this 2-year drought of exciting first-party PlayStation 5 exclusives. Right now, Stellar Blade is far and away the most popular game on Sifted, which makes sense because it's just about to launch. It's also one of the biggest movers up our power rankings for April 2024. Insomniac's Wolverine game for PS5 drops down a couple slots this month. After massive and unfortunate leaks that exposed the game and even provided a playable demo, all was quiet over the last month or so. While that makes Insomniac Games extraordinarily happy, it doesn't help its positioning in our power rankings. That said, an open-world Wolverine game built by the team that created Marvel's Spider-Man is always going to be in the mix on our hype charts. We may not get any new media for a while, which will cause the game to keep tumbling down our power rankings. We're really starting to wonder if Hollow Knight Silksong is an actual game, or if it's one of the best troll jobs in history. It began life as DLC and has since reportedly morphed into a full-blown sequel, but it's hard to tell when you've had just 2 trailers to watch over the last 4 years. According to Microsoft, it was supposed to launch last summer, but now we're coming up on a year after that, which makes us feel desperate. The good news, and the reason it's moved up on the chart this month, is that we finally received some updates. The game was just rated by the ESRB and was the subject of an April Fool's joke that wasn't. It now has an official page on the Xbox website, so it sure looks like it's on the fringe of being released. Until it isn't. Is it a real video game or just a meme? Team Cherry, please save us all. It's been a decade and we're still waiting for a new BioShock, but what we realized this month is that the next BioShock isn't called BioShock at all. It's called Judas. Ken Levine created that legendary franchise and he's left it behind for this new one. Judas is our biggest riser on the charts this month because the press was finally allowed to check it out, and it's returned with glowing impressions. While Levine takes offense to calling his new franchise BioShock in space, we definitely do not. Because that's exactly what it is. You play as a replicant on a years-long trip to a new planet to save humanity. Along the way, you let slip that the ship is mostly populated by robots, and all hell breaks loose. With a gun in one hand and your spells in the other, BioShock fans will be right at home on this intergalactic road trip. Just when we thought we couldn't be any more excited for Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft goes and lets Game Informer play it for a few hours for its cover story this month. It's been a massive blowout of information over the last several weeks, and pretty much all of it has been good. First, the brand new story trailer reveals you will indeed be brushing up against some of Star Wars' most memorable characters and plotlines. GI's coverage has revealed that there's an extensive reputation system that can lead to you being wanted. And when you're on the run, you can escape to planets and moons like Tatooine, Kijimi, Akiva, Mirogana, Toshara, and more. Lead character Kay Vess will work with multiple factions including Jabba the Hutt as she navigates this dark period of Star Wars lore, though one of his missions is locked behind a season pass. As the memories fade of the debut trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, we're left standing here wishing for more. Alas, once the game was pushed to 2025, we suspected new media would be hard to come by. We were right. Rockstar hasn't said much since, but content creators have switched their engines into overdrive, trying to squeeze the debut trailer of every last morsel of YouTube ad revenue. We've seen in real life recreations of the trailer, frame-by-frame breakdowns, Easter egg roundups, and so much more. No other game could generate this kind of coverage from just 90 seconds of footage. After its Game Informer cover story, we almost moved Star Wars Outlaws into the top slot in our April power rankings. Almost. That'll do it for the second installment of Sifted's video game power rankings. Now you can see how these rankings are fluid and how they'll change each month based on what actually happens in the industry. While your most anticipated game may not have made the cut in April, it won't take much for it to crack our power rankings in May. If you like this show or any of our other shows like Pachter Factor or GameFace, head to patreon.com/sifted and give us a pledge if you can. Let us know your top pick for the power rankings below, and we'll see you in May.